Somebody wants $1,300 for a week of house sitting in Clearwater, Florida. I can facilitate that. Except the problem is the dog.
I still have that one.
This is February 19th through Wednesday, Thursday through Wednesday. So if you're like $13 or $65 whiskey. Well, she had somebody that was going to do the job. It's a friend of Candy's, Muriel. And Muriel was like, I'd be interested in this. And then she's come out. I guess why I'm sitting.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Right. Only 24 inches, that's going to be the PVC, right? Okay, and it was, how much is that? That was a 24 inch. Right, what was the 30 one? $392. Wait just a minute. What was it? Okay. That's her problem. No, I got you. Right. Just, if she gets done tomorrow, just get them, resend them. And I'm gonna, well, we fixing to go in this meeting and all, but I'll get it squared away on Monday. Yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I ain't got time, I can't give it to you. That's what it's gonna be. Use 24 inch concrete. That's part.
All right, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for coming. I'm going to go ahead and call this work session of the City of Margaret to order January 26, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. and we're here meeting at Margaret City Hall. So the purpose of the work session is to review and discuss new items that will be settled at the next meeting, but also discuss the old items that will be decided on tonight, to see if there's any final action or any updates from the public that you can set. So generally speaking, no final action will be taken during the work session. It's just for discussing the work items for the actual council agenda. And so I wanted to start the session by just first discussing a few things about the City Hall and administrative updates. So before we get into the agenda, just want to explain kind of what we've been working on behind the scenes, just trying to be a little more transparent and give some accountability. So we've inherited some pretty antiquated systems where there's no documentation. In some cases, there's little to no organization, and it really makes it hard to do any kind of audit, to do any kind of public research, and to get the documents for public information requests. And so, our obligation is not to like relitigate this stuff, but we also want it to be handled correctly, safely, and be stored permanently. And so a few of the major internal projects that the City Hall is working on right now is, number one, records recovery and compliance. We're trying to find and file all the records that we need to have for all the employees, for all the events, for all the meetings. And the city records are basically, they've been scattered across desks, across offices, and basically all throughout the City Hall, and with very little rhyme or reason that anybody can determine. And most of the items are unindexed and hard to find. So we've been locating, inventorying, refiling records, and then also actually trying to scan them in to make them searchable. So, we're working on a document retention and scanning plan. We already well underway of scanning information in so that we can find it when we need it. But we're trying to work on a formal retention and scanning processing plan so that the records are there, searchable and backed up. And so the scanning isn't just a convenience, it's actually compliance. So disaster recovery, transparency, searchability for quick recovery when anybody requests information. So financial system stabilization. This is actually, it may sound simple, but it's a pretty big undertaking. So we're in the process of rebuilding all of our GL accounts and GL structures and transactions. They've been across the board, just things have been miscategorized, mislabeled, and are hard to trace and find where the actual taxpayer money is going. Slush fund has been thrown around quite a bit, and it's not far from the truth. So one of the ordinances, resolutions on the agenda tonight is discussing this, but basically we are working on realigning the GL and chart of accounts to line up with our actual budget and the processes that the city undertakes. And so again, we're rebuilding that GL structure so that reporting is accurate and the council oversight is clean and easy to read. And then we're also aligning the budgeting or the GL accounts with the budget so that we can actually report a budget to actual and show people where their tax money is going. Part of that is we're going to be moving the waterworks to QuickBooks Online. We've already transitioned the general fund to QuickBooks Online, and waterworks will be next. These movements may sound straightforward enough, but they are definitely not. We have to go back and recategorize basically the entire fiscal year of all of our transactions because they're either miscategorized or using the old deal structure, and there's going to be a lot of manual work involved in cleaning these up. We have a major issue with our workforce foundation with employee files and onboarding, and so the city clerk has been going through and trying to basically go through all the personnel files and make sure that they're complete. It's really just getting underway, but it's going to be a huge undertaking to find existing city employees that don't have everything in they need, getting all those documents in the file, seeing if we can find the previous files or recreate them, have them refiled. But the personnel files are in terrible shape and there are huge gaps, and we're working on rebuilding those as quickly as we can. And proceduralizing the onboarding process so that we know what's supposed to be done, what goes where, and in what order they're done. Because as of now, there is no process. It's very ad hoc. So job descriptions and policies. The majority of the city is operating with no job descriptions, no policies. We're just kind of, until we passed the employee handbook at the last meeting, we had no overarching structure of how the city operates. And so now that we have that, we have to drill in on all the jobs and the department policies. Because fire, police, and other departments operate differently than the general staff, so we have to have individual policies for each department. And on top of that, we need to be able to build department procedures and SOPs. So we're working on those processes and attempting to get all that aligned. Because until you have it documented, you're not following the same procedure each time. And then we've got a pretty aggressive capital improvement plan that we're working on. And so this is roads, water, facilities, equipment, and many other assets across the city. But the capital improvement plan helps us invest the money in the big projects. All of these things you can't pay for overnight. You can have a capital improvement plan to figure out how to get there. And so, and then finally, we have several public safety projects, fire station number 3, primarily among them, and then a new fire apparatus as a strong second. And we've already got the county grant writers helping us work on getting the funds for these things. And we've got the city engineer and everyone we can laying the groundwork to get council the information so that we can make educated and informed decisions. And so none of this work is fast, none of it's optional, unfortunately, either. So, all these processes are in the system, and they're all basically disassociated systems, and so we've got to work on some of the streamlining information in that regard. And then, but our primary goal is to get this information and have it readily accessible so that we can pass future budgets, fund public safety appropriately, answer public records requests, and to protect our employees and residents. And my commitment for this is very simple. We're going to get this fixed. We're going to fix it right. and then we're going to keep it moving forward and keep it working properly. And so thank you for your time. We're going to move right into the work session agenda, and that begins with a presentation for the Nico Rear Day proclamation. So I'll invite Jonathan Ray to present the proclamation to the arrears. Oh, present it. If you want. You can read it.
You present it.
It's just a proclamation recognizing Nick O'Rear for his public service and commitment. Nick was he was a citizen of the city of Margaret on February the 5th. He was shot in the line of duty, and he succumbed to his injuries. And it's been a little over 5 years. He's gone from us all, but for almost 6 years. He's gone, but this proclamation right here recognizes every February 5th moving forward. All flags will be flown at half staff, and he'll be recognized every February the 5th moving forward. Just like to present this to them tonight.
Thank you. Very good. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I think we did for you. Our first responders put their lives on the line every day, and this is a great reminder of that sacrifices does not go unheard. So moving on, is Austin here? Oh, Austin, if you'll come up, I'll have a few words to say, and then I'll ask you to speak. So I want to basically be a little bit clear about, I've invited Austin here tonight and to talk about that, through this transition in the city, one of the challenges we've inherited is not just missing paperwork and incomplete systems, but also it's missing history, important records, photographs, stories, and context about how the city has grown and how our decisions are made, and things that aren't preserved as well as they could and should have been. Austin has taken it upon himself as a resident and local historian to begin preserving Margaret's history, and not just for his own personal recognition, but so future residents, students, leaders have an accurate public record of who we are and where we came from. And that work really matters in the city. And it strengthens the civic pride, protects institutional memory, and helps the community tell its own story instead of losing it over time. So tonight's not about taking formal action tonight, but I want us to all hear from Austin and understand the work he's already doing, and signaling to this council and administration take local history very serious. So
I want to thank the mayor and the members of the city council for inviting me here. I sincerely appreciate it and all your support. When I was in school, I went to Owenville, and there wasn't a Margaret Elementary at that time, so all the Margaret kids went to school with us. And there wasn't really any local history that was taught to us, and I've always really had an issue with that, because there was so much history that happened here and so many men and women that gave so much to build these places. So I just sincerely hope that we're able to teach the generation we have in school now and future generations what came before them and what it took to get to the places that they are today. So, thank you.
And when the book's released, I'd like to ask Austin to come back and do a book signing here for those who are interested in local history and like to get a copy of that.
March 31st.
March 31st. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And so we'll prepare a formal proclamation recognizing Austin's work in preserving our local history and contributing to the lasting public record for the city of Margaret. And we'll present it to him at the next council meeting. So it can be properly entered into our records. But in parallel, I also want this process to be used to start organizing and supporting the Margaret Historical Society. I think it's a big deal. I know from campaigning, I've met a lot of citizens who are interested in helping preserve that. And so, no formal action on that tonight, but I think this is the first step, and I think Austin would be a good member of that society, and along with several other citizens can help really bring our history to the forefront. And so, Austin, thank you again for being here and for what you've been doing for the city.
Sir, thank you.
And somebody have any questions or comments for Austin? Sorry, should I answer while I was up here? Okay, moving right along. The reviewing of the council minutes is the next topic on the agenda. So has everyone reviewed the December 31st special meeting and the January 5th, 2026 meeting minutes? Do we have any corrections or changes we need to address?
So on page 2 from 1.5,
Mhm.
it says the interim fire chief suggests fixing and selling to invest in a truck. That should be the fire chief, who's no longer interim. Thank you.
Yep, good call. Okay. Anybody else have any issues or concerns from the minutes?
On the special meeting minutes, there's still some roads we're left. We still we haven't received bids for them.
Well, it's on the, we may not have them all yet. It's on the tonight.
It's been a month. That was December 31st, a special meeting.
Mhm.
So those were deemed emergencies. We should have some paperwork by now.
Any changes to the minutes? All right. Just to be sure, anybody have anything else? All right. The next, we're revisiting the backpack buddy support. Our Margaret, and you're reaching out to Oval about how much they contributed. Do we have any suggested amounts to contribute? I believe from speaking to them, they suggested that they basically have the cash is anything that they need to provide more supplies for the kids.
Most cities have done, 500 or less that I'm checked with.
Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or amounts they'd like to suggest? All right, does anybody have any concerns with 500? Okay, all right. We'll revisit this in a minute during the regular agenda. All right, and next we have Mr. Anthony Fields. He requested to be on the agenda, and we put him on this work session to be heard at the next council meeting. Is Anthony here? Okay. We'll move right along. And so I have Greg on the work session agenda. He's actually supposed to going to be coming to the next meeting to discuss his campaign, but he contacted us for this meeting to discuss the Educational Foundation Gala. So ladies, if y'all come up and speak, y'all, and I can help as well.
First of all, thank y'all for allowing me to be here tonight. Just in case anybody isn't familiar with the work that the Educational Foundation does here in St. Clair County, it was created back in 2004 by Marie Manning and some of the other names that people know here in the county. The goal was to provide some additional funding that goes straight to classrooms. So this is money that we raise that goes straight in for grants for our teachers. The process that we have is completely unanimous. They write in a grant request for what they want for their classroom, and then we review it for needs, sustainability. There's a few other criteria that we look at, but when they write the grant, we don't know what community or what teacher is writing it, so it's completely fair across the board through the county. So tonight, sorry. So tonight, what I wanted to do is just kind of explain our, when we revamped and brought the foundation back years ago, we have now had 3 grant cycles that we've given out. And I brought some stats tonight that I'll share really quickly. So out of 3 grant cycles, Margaret has written in for they have written in and received a total of 11 grants. We would love to get to a point where we can give all and award all of the grants that are written. I think total they requested 20 grants and they've been awarded 11 out of that. We also give grants to I know the kids split that go to Margaret and some go to Springville, some go to Owenville. I have those stats written that I can leave for you guys to review tonight if you would like, just so you can see how much money is funneling through. So Margaret has been awarded just in 3 cycles, just shy of $7,000. So wanted to just kind of show that information. So the way that we raise money to give the grants, we've kind of had to revamp and come up with a new way of fundraising, because we run into all of the sports going out and fundraising, all of the school PTOs doing their own fundraisers. So what the county did not have was a Mardi Gras gala. So each year, a lot of us volunteers and parents from different communities, we come together and we do a one-night fundraiser. So we're asking for your consideration tonight to sponsor a table. The silver package is $1,500. That's what we're asking for you guys to consider. That's what most of the other cities have committed to for this year. There is a possibility of sponsoring a grant if that's something that would be more in line with what you guys want to consider. So just wanted to ask for that consideration tonight. If you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to any of us who work on the staff. So thank y'all.
I think it's very important to point out, and she mentioned it, but this money goes directly to the teachers. And for anybody who has a family member who's a teacher, you realize they don't have enough money to supply their classrooms. And so this grant goes a long way to helping them get things for their classrooms that can go a long way. And it's really means a lot to the teachers.
And one last little push, we're always looking for grant writers. If y'all are interested or any participation in helping us fundraise, we would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We'll move right along. So the next topic on the work session is the Margaret Elementary smart boards. So Nicole reached out to me and she sent me an estimate for the smart boards. So basically, when they had to sign up for the new testing software, they lost out on a lot of smart boards that they had in their IT budget. And since we have money in our budget for the schools, I'd like to have this on the consent agenda that we go ahead and purchase 7 boards. And I want to fund 2 of them out of my community outreach funds, which will wipe out my funds, but I think it's going to a good cause. And that way we still have money in the account to go to St. Clair County for needs there. Anybody have any questions or concerns about? And
Is that on the agenda?
it is, it's in the consent agenda part of it. If you want to change the amount or anything, now's the time. So 7 boards, 1,800 apiece, and so and 2 of those are coming from my funds. Yes. The money, we have 15,000 budgeted for the school donations, and reach out to the principal, and that's what she said that they need.
What's the total?
Be 9,000 for 5 of them. If 2 are coming out, the other ones will be 9,000.
$1,800 apiece?
Survival.
Maybe more than that.
For 5 of them, 2 of them are coming out of my community. I'll get that.
You said the two boards are coming from what now?
My community outreach funds. Every council member has a certain amount of money budgeted for their own community or their own district outreach. So, but I'll get y'all the exact numbers. All right. Well, look at that. The next topic on the work session is the bill payment ordinance revocation. So there's an old ordinance that allows the automatic payment of certain bills throughout the city. And in a conversation during court, the former city attorney told me he'd been telling us for years that we have to get rid of that it violates state law. And so, and now that we have a budget in place, it's totally unnecessary. And so at the next council meeting, I'll be asking that we consider revoking the old ordinance that allows the auto paying of bills. Everything will fall in line with the budget process, but, that ordinance is basically contrary to state law, so we should revoke it. Do we have any questions or concerns about that? All right, moving right along, the city engineer presented the former council with a sign ordinance a year or two ago, and, I'll be getting that out, for the next meeting, but basically I wanted to bring that topic back up for discussion and for reviewing at the next council meeting. Basically, we have no sign ordinance currently, and the county doesn't have a sign ordinance, and so it leaves us with our hands tied when it comes to signs that are blocking the right of way and just, and so, I'll provide the document from the city engineer. I think the city attorney should probably review it and tweak it a little bit, but, I think that sign ordinance is a long overdue. Anybody have any questions, concerns, or problems around sign ordinances? Anything that y'all want to see addressed in the ordinance? One thing in particular I want to point out, so we have a lot of large signs that are in the right of way that we maintain and we have to cut around. And so one thing I want to add is a fee structure for signs that we have to work around so that it covers our cost. All right. Next on the agenda, we have the smoking ordinance. And since it was emailed to me late yesterday, and so I can get it out to council, but it'll be on the next discussion for the smoking ordinance for the whole city. And so we'll get it posted publicly and get it out to council. Paul, would you be able to summarize some of the hot topics from the ordinance?
From the
Smoking ordinance.
Yes, what it does basically is it makes it illegal for anyone to smoke in the city limits, cigarettes, in public buildings and in vehicles with small children, such as that, which that's actually state law.
Mhm.
So, that's basically what it does, because we've had some, this actually started about 20 years ago. The American Heart Association, back in 2006, got just about every municipality across the state of Alabama to institute no smoking in public places. And most cities had already passed that, the city of Margaret had not, so we drafted a document to basically to recognize and not poison the people around us with cigarettes. Again,
That's good. Thanks, sir. And so that'll be up for consideration at the next council, and we posted publicly before then,
You said, when did you receive it?
late yesterday.
Any reason it wasn't emailed to the rest of us
I was traveling.
today?
Yep, I got a copy of it, and I'll be getting out there one today. Say, all right. So moving right along, so we have certain insurance that's provided automatically for our first responders, particularly firemen. They get, some cancer and long-term disability covered by the city, but I would like to see the city step up and provide, at least 2 years of salary for every first responder, police and fire. And then in the case of something happening while they're on duty, we've doubled that. And so, Jill's working on getting quotes and more information around that for how much that would cost. But it's something that, as we're here discussing it every day, these people put their lives on the line for us to protect us and to keep us safe. I think it's the least we can do is to protect them and their families in the case of anything happening. So at the next council meeting, we'll have some quotes and information and discuss providing additional coverage for the employees. Any questions or concerns or anything you'd like to see quoted or? All right. Moving right along, we have the towing fee and police report fee. Chief, or Jeff, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I can. So for
For years, we have been one of the only municipalities around that people just walk up and ask for a report. And our clerical staff has to, dig around, find reports, and there's no real system in place. Have to call an officer in from the street to find the report for them. So I'm asking if we can put a fee on the report of $10 per report for instant reports and accident reports. And that way, that would help us get a better system in place. And when the public comes in and asks for a report, we'll be able to quickly get them that report and print it off and hand it to them. So every city around us is $10, so I feel like that's a good, a good number to go with.
And the towing,
And for tow-in fees, as our productivity's picked up, towing more vehicles, and it's come to light that we were only charging $50 for a tow-in release form, and the cities around us are charging $100. So I would recommend that we match our neighbors and go up to $100 on the towing fee. And hopefully this money, I understand that money could go into a fund for police training, equipment, and that sort of thing.
so we'll be presenting that at the next council. All right. Moving right along, someone requested the littering fine structure be put on here, but anybody couldn't find anything about the current littering fine other than just state law to speak to the littering fine and increasing that fine structure.
Was it currently?
That's what I'm saying, I couldn't find anything other than state law and, Yeah.
But most cities, a littering fine is $500.
We've recently had complaints of dumping. We've not found the actual sites yet, but a citizen called in and gave an anonymous tip that there was some illegal dumping going up in Woodland. But
One thing I think is important to note here too for the public as well, is the sheriff's office will actually help clean up county roads. And so I've called them quite a bit, and usually within a week they've got someone out cleaning up the roads. And so when you do see garbage and litter on the side of the road, their county services, it'll help take care of that. You can call the sheriff's office and ask for the contact, and they'll get you into the right person
May I ask a question? How do we enforce the littering? Because there's a water heater that was dumped on County Road 12.
It's and I was actually thinking about that when Jeff mentioned that. You have to catch, the police officers have to catch them in the act. And so camera's not good enough, it has to be in the act. And so if you see it, call as soon as you can, because, luckily the streets we're patrolling and we're out there now. And so there's going to be a higher chance of catching them in the act.
with that and going, if we find the litter, it's got their mail in it,
Yeah.
that's a clue, and we can,
Yeah.
we can go that route as far as conducting an investigation to figure out why this person's mail is on the side of the road.
All right. So moving right along, discuss speed bumps. So
So are we considering $500 or
we'll
just tossing things around? What's the?
we'll bring it up at the next council meeting, and so we'll have a proposal for the next council meeting. And if anybody has any, wants to propose higher or anything else, now, anybody have any suggestions? So speed bumps. We've been looking at a couple different options for speed bumps, and Mr. Barker, would you mind discussing the speed bump situation? So we've looked at several options for plastic speed bumps. Mr. Barker has reached out to Massey, since we have the contract with them, to discuss putting in larger, we call them speed tables, speed humps. And could you speak to that, Mr. Barker, or do you want me to?
Yes, sir, they, Matthews told me that, they could put in, the asphalt speed bumps, which roughly, the ones that we looked at were in Trussville, they're 12 foot long, the width of the street, and they're gonna run about $1,000 each. But the more that the city puts in, the cheaper we can get them. And they're about 4 inches high.
So, and what they do is they mill into the road a little bit, and so that the speed bump tapers right into the road. It's not just sitting on top. and obviously built asphalt, they'll last a good while. The plastic speed bumps, I believe, was about $600 to $700 for the cheaper end of the speed bumps, but then that's just your basic speed bump. Has proved very ineffective. And so, I'd like us by the next meeting to consider locations and how many we would like to see put in and where, so that we can discuss at the next meeting, possibly purchasing some speed bumps, or speed tables, I'll call them. They're gonna be the most effective, form of speed deterrence that we can find. Do you have any questions, concerns, or, alternatives? All right, thank you, Mr. Burke. All right, so I just had an update on the RPCGB 5-year comprehensive plan. So they reached out, we've been assigned, Goodwill, Goodwill Mills and Kaywood, I might have that wrong, yeah, GMC, and as our engineering firm. And so here soon, we'll be scheduling meetings with council and then with residents to work on building out our first 5-year comprehensive plan for the city. And I mean, it's a really big deal, and it's, at this point, I believe we're the only city around us that doesn't have it started, if not, doesn't have one at all. Argo has completed it. I went through the majority of the process. Oakland's going through it right now. And some of our larger neighbors are revisiting their old plans and creating larger plans. But this 5-year comprehensive plan allows us to be shovel ready when grant funds are available. So we lay out the projects, lay out the needs for not just one person, not just the council, but the citizens, residents, and everyone as well. And so we passed it a little bit over a year ago, and it's finally, the ball is starting to roll. All right. Any questions or concerns, or? All right. And next up, we're talking about SOPs, our system operating procedures. So I'd like to bring someone in with some HR experience to help. I've discussed this before, and this person would come in, help us basically build job descriptions, build standard operating procedures, and possibly SOGs for the fire and police departments, depending on where they're needed. But essentially, it's a very specialized skill set to help do that, and I'd like to bring in somebody, and so I'd like to start getting some proposals together and just see if the council has any questions, concerns, or anything that they'd like to prioritize or focus on. Okay, I'll bring some proposals to the next council meeting. We've been looking, next on the agenda is document scanning. We've been looking at a couple of document scanning solutions, and I plan to present some quotes to the next council meeting. But basically, these solutions are not just things that we have to participate. They can actually come in and help us scan some of the documents. It's been one of the things that we've been looking at when we walk into the filing room, and there's just piles of boxes and filing cabinets with tons of files, and we don't know what's what or where things are. And so some of these companies can come in, take those, scan them, OCR them, organize them, and make them where we can search and find the records that we need. One big thing that we've discovered is that we basically have some pretty major gaps in our resolution and ordinance documents. So we've got entire ordinances, resolutions, and pages missing from existing ordinances. So there's basically history and law that's just missing. But hopefully, if we can get this done, this will prevent that from happening in the future, and we'll keep these documents both backed up and easily searchable when someone does come in with a request. Any questions, concerns, or directions we'd like to look in that regard? Moving along, Duke Street, is Vicky here? We'll try to reach out to her and ask, see if she wants to be moved to the next agenda, but Vicky had a question about Duke Street and about repairing a pipe on her, for her second, looks like a secondary driveway. But we'll circle back around and she can attend. All right, so the Oval Area Chamber of Commerce membership. They've reached out to us before and have now reached back out around and asked if we would like to buy a membership for the city to the Chamber of Commerce. I highly recommend it, and I can send an email to the council with the breakdown of all the different levels of membership. They start from $100 up to however much you want to contribute. But, you know, it may be called the Odenville Area Chamber of Commerce, but Margaret businesses and Margaret residents are members of the organization, and it's a very good organization to be involved in. And so by the next council meeting, I'll have some numbers and options for us. Anybody have any questions, concerns, or opposed to the idea? All right, moving right along. So we've gone through the first iteration in my term of issuing business licenses. And it's a very manual process, but it's also one that we don't have very well documented. We basically send out the business licenses for the people who had one last year, but there's not a whole lot of follow-up and or pushback. And I've spoken with several other mayors in different cities, and they've all had very good success in revenue officer positions. Some of them have outsourced the work to companies, and then after a year or two, they've transitioned from the companies to an employee. Generally, there's a 1 or 2 year bump where you get a large influx of the revenue that you weren't getting before, and then afterward, it tends to taper off. But then at that point, you should have a pretty well-established budget and know how much you should expect to come in. We've had several vendors who were doing contracts for the city and didn't have city business licenses, and then others, you know, that are filling out the bare minimum business licenses. And so we've had a lot of issues that are easy to see, but we just don't have someone who can dedicate their time to go after it. And it's revenue that's sitting on the table, and the city is not capitalizing on. So does anybody have any concerns, questions, or ideas for a position for this?
You talking about just adding a city employee and a salary?
Correct.
You have any kind of numbers?
None off the top of my head, but that's where the other position that would come in and help with job descriptions and things. I mean, I can get some numbers from other cities, what they're paying theirs, but it may not be scalable to Margaret. It will be a revenue generating position, and it'll be part of the inspections department.
I just think before we go spending money on positions like this, there's a lot more things that are a lot more important.
Well, that's the point. I mean, we're discussing it so we can present it at the next council meeting. So we'll get some more details and present it at the next council meeting. All right. Anybody else? All right, moving right along. So with the forensic audit, so we reached out to Carr, Ingram, and Riggs, Harmon and Associates, and Forensic Audit Solutions to get quotes for a forensic audit. FAS is the only one who's responded so far, but their first response was we need to have a meeting and discuss the depth and level and what all we're looking for. And so I'm going to be scheduling that meeting with them this week and hope to have responses from the other two as well. And it'll probably be the same conversation with all three of them to figure out what we're looking at and what level of detail that we want to present. I think the motion was to go back 5 years with the court and the financials. And I think I've got a pretty good idea where we can point them at some problem areas, but we just have to have some meetings with them to determine before they can give us a quote. Any questions, concerns, or other firms anybody knows what about that we might want to reach out to? I'll have an update at the next council meeting. So on the road repair quotes, Mr. Barker, do you want to give us an update on the quotes? And I know we've got the one for Parkwood Drive, but do we have we got anything back from Brookwood and Wyatt Drive yet?
No, sir. No, sir. I talked to Massey this afternoon, and he said that he sent the quote, but I didn't get it. So he said they were off today because of the weather, and he'd get it first thing in the morning. That's for Brookwood. Now the others we have.
Let's see, we got Wyatt.
I don't have.
Wyatt Drive?
No.
Okay, all right. And so the Parkwood Drive quote came back, I believe, it was in the council packet. So, do we want to, any questions, concerns, or information we need in addition to the quote that was in the packet. All right, thank you, Mr. Berger. All right, so next on the agenda is the Parks and Rec position. So we posted the Parks and Rec position pretty vaguely out there with, along with the, Public Works Director position, and we've gotten two applications in for it, and they're in the OneDrive and SharePoint folder that y'all have access to with all the applications. We've got a really strong candidate in there who has 30 years of experience with Parks and Rec, and that includes grant writing and additional functionality. Like basically, he's built a system that started at our level and now is a monolith in the area. And I really, while it's not a director position, I would like to get council's input on the applicants. And so would y'all like to hear from the candidates? All right, Mr. Vincent, can you come up and speak to us for a moment? So, David Vincent.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, how are you?
Good. I hadn't planned on doing a speech today or anything, but as Mayor Porter Ritchie said, and we've known each other for a period of time. I know Councilor Bell also. My wife, I think, works on with Councilor McIntyre. But as he said, I've spent the last 30 years of my career with the city of Charlottesville. Believe it or not, when I first went to work there, they had the exact same budget that Margaret has right now. The whole city had about a $5 million budget, and I think my last budget, just Parks and Recreation, was about $9 million. So we built it from a team of about 3 employees to about our peak about 137. So I've seen it grow from every direction. A lot of people have talked about grants in here tonight, and I've written a number of them over the years. I think last year we wrote about $2 million worth of grants, including $1 million one to redo our playground, the library there. Parks and Recreation has been part of my life ever since I graduated from Jacksonville State with a recreation degree many years ago. I won't say how long, give my age away, but I'm excited about the opportunity to possibly come back and work with a city that's up and coming, that's growing. I grew up in St. Clair County, I grew up in Moody, so I was right up the road. Spent a lot of time in Margaret, as a matter of fact, as a young person. We went to church here a lot and things like that. So I've also worked as a supervisor role for the city of Birmingham and the city of Gaston. So I've seen the whole gamut of things that you do here. So with that, that's sort of the highlight. My better half works for the city of Springfield. I also serve on their council, as y'all see from my resume. It's my 3rd term there. I've served, came in, got appointed the first time, so I understand exactly what y'all's job is and how difficult it can be. But I do serve on 3 committees there. I'm on the park board. Rick Hawkins is back here. He's our director. We started that department too. We put that department together, and it's actually become a department I'm very proud of. We did it from scratch, and it's one of the better departments in the county now, and one of the better small departments in the state. I think they do a little bit of everything. But one of the things I'd like to see happen here is I'd like to see y'all get a senior citizen program going. One of my grants that I wrote years ago built the Senior Citizen Center in Trussville, or paid for half of it, and as over the years we've gone along, we've had additions to it. Those grants are good to get because they're block grants, and there's usually not much to them. I think we wrote about $500,000 worth of grants just for that project over the years. So that's something I see Margaret being ripe for, something that I think y'all could come in and could happen here and make it work. I think it'd be a win-win situation. I need something to do. I've been retired for a month now, and my wife's telling me to go back to work and get a job. So I need to do something. I'm not one to sit still. I'm very active. I can only play so much pickleball. So that said, if anybody's got a question, I'd be happy to.
One great benefit, without saying too much, is that David is retired, and so he's will be a part-time asset to the city, but brings the experience to help build those grants and train people to help them. So if David became our Parks and Rec employee, our first Parks and Rec employee, we have enough money in the Parks and Rec budget to also bring on another employee that we can discuss in a future date, and so that he can have someone he can be working with, training, and can help do other tasks.
Lot of potential here.
That's right, that's right. And so, I think we have a really good candidate here, and I just want council to have a chance to hear from him and ask him questions today.
I'll hang around after the meeting, if I want to talk to him.
That would be great. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, and it's, there are salaries in the budget, but you're right, not that position. So, moving right along, the next position is Public Works Director. So that application window is closing on 1/31. We've gotten a tremendous amount of applications for that position. And, like with the job description has been posted and, on Indeed, and we've had quite a few people come in personally and drop off applications. So starting January 31st, everyone should have all the applications in the folder in SharePoint. So please start reviewing those, and we'll try to whittle that down and then schedule interviews starting on February 1st. Any questions or concerns about that timeline? All right. So hold back. We obviously know that there are issues there, and we've been discussing with the developer to get the rights and access so that we could actually straighten out Old Acton and make it a nice smooth curve and basically rebuild the road from the railroad to probably around Stevens Cove. The Rebuild Alabama grant is due in the 1st of February. And Keith is working on rough plans and estimates on how much that would cost to get that work done. And so I'd like to see us apply for the Rebuild Alabama grant to rebuild Old Acton Road, whether it stays where it's at and just gets widened and some drainage issues taken care of, or if it's rerouted so that it's actually safer for everybody involved. I'd like to apply for that grant, and we've already discussed that at a previous council meeting, but I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention and ask if y'all have any questions, concerns, or issues with that approach.
I know, Old Acton Road is a continuous issue.
Mhm.
I know we passed it once, the week after the 31st. That's a continuous problem we're gonna have.
But no, it needs to be,
That's something we need to check weekly on that road. There's some deep holes over there.
needs to be fixed permanently too. And so, that's where this grant could take us a long way in that direction.
But even if we don't get the grant, it's gotta be fixed.
Agreed.
So we need to get a price on, not just, what you're saying, we're doing it. We need a price on fixing it as well,
Well, Keith,
if we don't get the grant.
what Keith is working on is that estimate, and so the estimate, whether we get the grant or not, it will have the estimate in the plan. We're just also waiting to hear back to get the confirmation from the developer if he's okay with the use of his land. All right. Also on the water tower land deal, so I've been having discussions with the developer, as you guys allow me to, and basically we've come to an agreement for about 9 acres up there, and that we could make a pretty good deal. In total was, so 9 acres at about 94,000, and he'd be willing to trade for transferable water taps. So this would basically keep from money coming out of the pocket, and it would be guaranteeing us future income from those water taps and water customers. And we'd get the land we need to build the water tower and possibly some other amenities up there, because I believe we paid $200,000 to $250,000 for the 5 acres here around City Hall, and so that's about 9 acres, about, I'd say 5 to 6 of usable space for a portion of that. Anybody have any concerns before moving forward?
Is there a definite need for a water tower?
That's Keith was supposed to be here to discuss that, and with future growth, there, well, absolutely, but for the short term, it's not looking as pressing as it used to.
That's a lot of money to spend if we ain't got that.
Well, that's the key with the negotiation of the water taxes. It's no cash out of pocket.
Speaking of the utility board, City of Odom, there's so much more water in other areas that we're already tapped into that we're not utilizing.
No, agreed, and so, yeah,
That's,
Todd, would you like to speak to the plan, or would you like to prefer keep?
So we looked into that, and Jonathan's right, there is potential to get water from more sources than one. So Keith is looking, we found some old drawing maps and looking at what we can do to utilize those other sources to zone out the water instead of feeding the whole system off of one source. But he has not have heard back from him, so he's working on that.
Was it a water plan or a water, what was the water, you're working on a survey basically to come up with our water needs and withdrawal on the water system?
Yeah.
And not to speak out of my depth, but basically, we have 3 water towers, but our entire system is one giant system, and so we lose the advantage of having 3 water towers with the way our system is currently designed.
It's internally looped, which means it don't matter where it comes from, it's all feeding back into each other.
That's right. And
There's water from over here feeding from Levine and water from over there feeding the County Road 12. It's just, it's wherever it's needed is where it's shifted to.
And it leads to a larger topic that I don't want to go too deep down until keep us here to help guide, but basically, we've been manually controlling valves in order to control flows and water pressures, and that's hurt the city overall. And so, but at the same time, we're at the age where a lot of our old water lift stations and sewer lift stations are in need of refurbishment. And so, like, basically Todd, Keith, and Jared are all working on several different projects to basically upgrade everything across the board. So all those water taps, sewer taps, and everything that we've been getting money from is going to be utilized very soon on getting our system up to date. Part of that process is going to be actually dividing the sections of the city so that the water from each tower is used to its full potential, and so that we can intelligently control the amount of water in the towers and not have
Well,
to actually.
that's called zoning, so, which means if there's a leak now, the chances of trying to find it means we're gonna have to ride the whole city. If we can zone it out and say, I notice a drop on our telemetry from Levine Tank, then we know it's in that zone. Same way with Hillcrest. If it's something's fishy going on, we know it's in that zone. Right now, it's chaos. It could be anywhere from the bottom of the hill to Levine to over on South Hillcrest. It's all feeding from one source. It's all just hooked in as one big water system.
And the caveat on that is finding the cutoff valves is hit or miss, and the ones that the plans say will cut it off are not because of that looping. And so, there's also plans to actually go out and find and map all of those existing cutoff valves, so when there is a leak, we know where to go to shut it off. Because as many businesses and other operations know, every minute of a leak costs money, and it generally comes back on us. And so every minute we're finding ourselves looking for a cutoff valve or finding for where that water's coming from.
Well, too, is so we're depending on one on Sandy Road. That's where 90% of the water comes from. Well, if Odinville has a leak on Sandy Road and they have to cut the water off, then that's our water income. So, but when there's other sources that we have that could be upgraded, there's one that's ready to go. It just needs a control valve. It has to communicate with the tank to know when to open and when to close. Because right now it's just feeding into it slowly, 24/7, because it don't have what it needs to open and control. So that's the one, up on Levine Road, there's an 1.5 meter up there that feeds the Levine tank. That can be upgraded, put a control valve on it, and let the tank control the valve. When it needs water, it sends the signal, it opens it up, fills it back up. And then we can put in other valves to where if something happens on the upper part, we can send water from this side over there or vice versa.
So we should have little over $1 million plus the $2 million left over from the bond that was taken out to upgrade those lift stations.
Yes, the sewer upgrade. And then you got,
Yeah, this is what, the sewer, now the sewer
yeah, you
lift
got,
station, that's,
but
That
no,
was
you,
That was close to 2 years ago, so we should be on that.
no, it's over 3 now. And, the, Keith was, I told to start working on the sewer upgrades from like November 3rd forward. On top of that, I think we were all told quite extensively that our pumps were in terrible shape because they were running 24/7, and that's the reason we had the problem. And the way that our system was built, that was by design. And we've been wearing the pumps out because don't have an intelligence sensor. I always forget the acronym, but the,
control valve.
control valve. And so
Well, no, that's the VFD part.
VFD.
That's another, so putting VFDs on Sandy Road for these pumps, meaning they will ramp up and down, not just cut on and cut off in the water hammer, will save us and our supplier the headache of water hammer, mainline breaks, and stuff like that from the constant water hammer that it happens when those pumps cut on and off.
Essentially, the pressure of the pump cutting on and off, going from basically 0 to 100, puts pressure and causes movement in the PVC every time it kicks on. And so if you can control that and do it smoothly, you're gonna have less leaks, less issues going forward, and a better outcome. And so that's part of the upgrade that we're considering, is adding those VFDs to existing pumps or replacing pumps with 2 pumps that have VFDs. All right, I know that was a lot more than,
So we get quotes for all that?
they were working on it. It starts with the water plan and then builds out from there. And then the next topic, if nobody has anything else, working on negotiating a deal to get purchase of 2 lots adjacent to us here. And so that would give us control of the land completely surrounding City Hall. Just want to make sure council's aware of the process and that I'm having the conversations. And I'll try to have an update at the next council meeting with some potential opportunities. I had the city engineer update on here to cover some of the stuff we just discussed, but he wasn't able to make it tonight, so we'll move right along. Just wanted to give a brief update on Alabama Power. They were scheduled they got rescheduled to start in February with all the construction and all the road blockages until they have a meeting with the county commission and the county engineers. So there's a lot of contention over who dropped the ball on communication between the county to get permits and to start the work. And so the county is pushing back pretty heavily on needing to do full blockages. And so as soon as there's an update, I'll be making sure to let everybody know. But as of right now, I don't have a firm start date nor any updates. I have built a site for the Alabama Power engineers to be able to communicate with all of our first responders, both in Odenville, Margot, and Margaret, so that at the end of the day, they'll send a notice out where they'll be working the next day, and so that those first responders can know who, when and how they need to respond, and also so that I can inform the citizens of where the work will be occurring the next day. The general plan right now is that they're going to be starting at the gas station on the intersection of 6 and 12 and working systematically to 411. So it won't be jumping around. It'll be they'll be working on 3 poles at a time, but only setting 1 at a time because they need the crane to be able to set the pole, and the crane is what's going to be blocking the road. And it's a minimum of 3 hours to put the crane in place, add the weights to it, set the pole, and then remove the weights so they can move the crane. And so the blockages should not be all day, but they don't know whether it's going to start at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. And they're also working around the school schedule so that they cannot interfere with school traffic. But as soon as I know something, I'll know something. Next topic was the Education Foundation Gala, but we've already heard from that and discussed that. Upcoming, we have spring break and Good Friday, and but those are good ways out. And so now we'll take a few-minute break and transition to the.
You got the last thing on the work session agenda, is Fire Station 3.
Oh, I thought I mentioned that earlier when I was done the projects, but so We have, we've got some rough plans right now for Fire Station 3. We're getting them,
Explain rough plans.
we've got a blueprint for a 3-bay fire station that would go on, the lot at the front of, Sandy and Brookhaven Drive. It require, piping in the drainage there with some concrete, concrete blocks, so basically the square concrete drainage, pipes. And then, so we have asphalt or concrete all the way up to Sandy so that there's plenty of space. And it would be a pull-through, 3-bay pull-through station with 1 bay temporarily blocked off for living quarters until in the future we can buy the model home, to make that into the living quarters for the folks who work at that station. Should be a, basically a brick outer structure with just the 3 bays. And as soon as the engineer has the updated plans, I'll be presenting to the council, and we'll be going after quotes and plans for getting funding for it.
Is that the best opportune place to put it?
From discussions over the last few years, it seems to be one of the best.
Discussions with who? Because these people sitting up here ain't been here the last few years. We're looking at, if that's the location you're looking at, you're looking at $150,000 just in fixing the drainage. That's $150,000. How much is a lot?
Do you have the estimate for that?
No, it's called construction.
Well, will we get into those estimates? And if it's too cost prohibitive, we'll get somewhere else.
$500,000 without putting the station there is not the best opportunity location. Have we looked anywhere else for any other land?
There's been suggestions for using the lot catty corner to that, but that's clearly in the floodplain and not actually in the city limits. You mentioned the house next door, but someone does live there and the lot is not conducive to like actually fit a fire station home. And we have the 3 acres at the back of, Brookhaven Drive. It is basically only accessible from the left road right now.
Because we want to add three new paid salary positions to the city. But we ain't got the first plan for Fire Station 3 on any paperwork and presented to anybody up here. 20-minute response times to the Isabel Road is ridiculous and unacceptable. So if we're spending any money moving forward, that needs to be the number one thing that is the priority for the city and these citizens to adhere, we need to adhere to. We've talked about it long enough. How long have we talked about it? As long as we've been here, 3-4 years. This administration right here, in the first year, there needs to be a building constructed and moving in.
It's in the engineer's hands, he's working on it.
I've heard it. I ain't seen nothing since November. So we working on it. We ought to have an email coming through, and we ought to be seeing and talking about it.
I think I showed you the plans the other day that
You showed me something that somebody drafted up on their personal computer, that looks like hogwash. That's what you showed. I ain't seen nothing else. But public safety is our priority. Moving forward, that is public safety, and that should be what we adhere to moving forward, is response times to these people. So if we can't tell them we're doing the best we can, then we got a problem. And all this other stuff, this other 60 things we just discussed, isn't important. That's important.
And it's been working.
I'd like to see something by the next council meeting of what we're working on, so we can show these people what we're working on. Because talking about it continuously for years and years down the road is not working. And another thing is a fire truck. We got, Chief, we got 2 in working condition currently. We got 102 square miles of coverage that we cover. 2 calls go out. Who's gonna pick up the third one? We're gonna call somebody to help us out? We're supposed to have a mutual aid contract at this council meeting for everybody to look at. You've seen it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah? Samantha, do you have it?
Yeah, I have one.
It should have been on the agenda. That's another thing. Moving forward. I mean, we're prolonging help. Like this is not something that we sit and wait on. Police and fire, moving forward, has got to be at the top of our priority. It's inexcusable for us not to be handling. So I just think everybody up here is aware that that's something that should be our main focus moving forward and not just discussed. Let's see some documentation of what we're doing.
All right. All right, then, everyone want to take a break, or do we want to go right into the meeting? All right, we're gonna take a quick break and reconvene in 10 minutes.
You got me right. Appreciate you. I said, ain't gonna do no good. Yeah, that's hold on in there, look. I don't know. Took me a minute. No, I think I know how to do it all.
Oh, it sounds different. So what's the way when you didn't change it? I thought it was like 45. 45 turn on the side of the subdivisions, kids play, stuff like that. Okay, that's the first across the street from the church. You live up there? Nothing's done right
My wife's watching the feed. Are these running right now? Am I screaming into the camera?
You are.
Hi, Brandy. She said she hadn't been able to see it. And I don't know why. It's
She can't see it, but she can hear it.
She said she hasn't been able to find it.
Like, all she got to do is go to YouTube. Go to YouTube.
I want to see if you pull it up and it's live.
It's just got a little delay.
Which one is this one? This one? There it is.
Yeah, it's just a little lag.
Okay, I'll tell her. It's on, it's running.
Call the meeting back to order. All right, thank you everyone for your patience. I hereby call this regular meeting of the Margaret City Council to order on Monday, January 26th. Mr. Barker, would you lead us in prayer?
We come before you tonight to thank you and praise you for the blessings we receive daily. Just thank you for loving us, take care of, continue to lift up our nation and our president, this mayor and this council. Please you give them guidance and wisdom to lead some direction and please you. We ask you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Flag is going. Positive.
All right, right there is fine. All right. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilperson Chapman. Councilperson Bell. Councilperson McIntyre. Councilperson Davis. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Ray.
Here.
Mayor Torrey.
Here. All right, quorum is present, so, you got the consent agenda before you, but there are several modifications from our work session. So, it may be simpler to say that the remaining consent agenda items are the approval of the minutes, the Backpack Buddies program, and the, smart boards from Mario Lear, which total for that $13,125, and I was giving 3,000 of my funds towards that, so 10,125 from the school budget item, and then 3,000 from my community outreach fund. So does the council have council members have any requests to remove any other items or any further changes? Does any council member have any requests to remove any other items from the consent agenda or make any other changes?
I make a motion, we move the whole consent agenda to the regular agenda.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion to move the consent agenda to the regular agenda.
Move it all just to the regular agenda, so, because if you approve the consent agenda, it automatically approves everything.
What,
All these things need to be talked about.
well, I just mentioned that we're removing everything but those three, but that's fine. Well, motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Councilwoman Bell, second. Roll call vote.
Councilperson Chapman.
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell.
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre.
Yes.
Councilperson Davis. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Ray.
Yes.
Mayor Torrey.
Sure. All right. So moving right into city business, we're going to start with the department reports, and so we'll start with the police.
How y'all doing tonight? This report is from January 1 to today. We've had 112 calls for service. We've taken 22 incident reports and offense reports and 6 accident reports. Department's made 327 traffic stops, 178 citations, 185 warnings. We've made 5 felony arrests, 4 misdemeanor, resulting in 21 felony charges and 15 misdemeanors. We've made 513 business checks and 375 patrol requests. Our criminal investigations division to date has made 21 felony charges, 15 misdemeanor charges. We've submitted 24 items. We've submitted 9 items to forensics. We've done 2 search warrants. We've made 28 arrests, total arrests 17. We have 17 cases and we've already closed 13 of them. Today, last month we put the vehicles on gov.deals. The Dodge Charger sold today for $2,525 to a car lot out of Columbus, Mississippi. So that was being done. The other vehicles have fell off gov.deals, and we're working on somebody that wants to buy the rest of the pool. Do y'all have any questions for the police department?
What was that number again? Sorry.
Which one?
You said it sold for how much?
The Charger?
Right.
$2,525.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, if you don't mind, while we're bringing fire up, I think that'll be a good time to go ahead and do the officer recognition, and then that way you can come on through some rest.
Mayor, these reports are supposed to be submitted to us 72 hours prior to the meeting. Any reason we haven't received them until this evening?
I don't have a paper copy of the report myself, so, but we're working on the system to get that out more efficiently.
The system's in place, it's called email.
I
mean, you yourself called it out in the previous meetings. You said things would be provided to us, so I'm just reiterating what you've already put in, why it hasn't happened.
Once I have the stats regularly, they'll be presented to the council regularly. And we have just,
Everybody, City Hall's open today at noon, right?
that's right.
So we had 6 hours prior to the meeting to get it to us.
So, I will, actually, Brad, you're coming up into the recognition.
There's often a lot of banter back and forth with police and fire. They'll joke about securing a scene for us, and we'll remind them not to block hydrants, stuff like that. But oftentimes we find ourselves in the same team. All the time, we find the same team. And I want to recognize a couple of officers that responded to a call along with us, and they were able to get on scene quicker because they're patrolling, they're in cars, the weather was real foggy. And due to their quick action, we have a life that was saved. I'd like to recognize Officer Ballard and Officer Wormley. January 6th this year, they responded with our fire department and were able to save life. And appreciate that.
Sergeant Warren's not here now because of the illness in his family.
Appreciate it, and thank these guys who serve in the community. They often get overlooked when doing their jobs, and it's a hard job. I don't envy it. I'm thankful to have my job, and I'm very thankful these gentlemen. I would encourage them to continue what they're doing.
If you'll continue, I just want to say thank them for the professionalism and service, and if you'll continue in your reports.
Yes, sir. City Council, Mayor, citizens, I appreciate, due to your support, I feel underqualified, underexperienced, but y'all gave me a direction, and I announced earlier through social media that the fire department here at Margaret now is fully staffed. We have 3 people per shift. That was the goal set. Also, I have tried to get us in the direction of becoming an ALS department. That go live date for our reporting system will be April 1st at the latest. And that will be the final step in becoming the ALS department. We've secured Dr. Ferguson as our medical director. I'm working on obtaining, securing a pharmacy to provide our medications for ALS, being an ALS provider. And everything's falling in place thanks to a lot of people around me who know they're doing it. So that's the biggest part of the report I have for you guys. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask me, and I'll be sure to be prompt on my emails to make sure.
But it's just, that's on the mayor, it's not on you, so it's, but I want to tell Brett, that we do appreciate everything he's done. A lot of late nights and, long afternoons. I busted in one day on him, over there. I didn't know if he was, praying, singing, or, asking the Lord for, why did he jump in it?
All of that.
Yeah, he was elbows up in some books, trying to get us to the next step, and he's put a lot of countless hours in. Chief, we appreciate you.
Want to give an update?
Like we talked about earlier, we're working on the water and sewer side. But I'm also temporarily over the public works side. We've come into a snag with, we bought equipment and, as everybody knows, it's heavy and we need stuff to move it. So I've done some research. We had the, sorry, that's my fault. This is not on this various system. I've been busy.
We got another meeting next Monday. Got another meeting next Monday, same time.
Well, that is a, shelf tray.
You can go reach out.
I'll explain it. Oh.
We got a lot of people in office.
All right, so the first thing is the big text, the dump trailer. Is a 83 inches wide and 16 foot long. This would be mainly used to haul multi-purpose. We can haul trees, rocks, sand, gravel, salt, and we have ice storms. But it's also big enough to haul equipment inside of it. Meaning like our mini X. We have another flatbed trailer. We bought the skid steer, but there's times where we need multiple pieces of equipment on the same job. We did buy the other dump trailer. But same scenario is sometimes you need more than one. So what I gave y'all was a price for what I found the best fit for what we need. If y'all would just look over it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, text me. And another problem that we're running into is with this heavy equipment, we need bigger trucks. We do have quite a few small F-150 trucks, but they are not big enough to pull the equipment, pull rock, anything we need, let them pretty much pull the trailers. So what I did was, just doing some research, I went to McSweeney Holding, and Clanton has the state bid. If you flip to the back page, I highlighted what the state bid is for a Chevy Silverado crew cab four-wheel drive 2,500. That is with a gas motor. After looking and doing some research, I actually found when they have one on the lot for $41,985, which is cheaper than the state bid. Which is, means that we can buy it without having to go through the bid the 5% bid process. That's just something now, I know as we transition or swap it up and divide the, public works off, we're still gonna need more vehicles and equipment to use, so we can all work together. But we have been busy fixing leaks in the roads and stuff like that. I hadn't had time to get numbers together, but, by the next meeting, I will try to do that.
Can you speak to the new piece of equipment for the patching of the roads?
Yes, the mirror patcher. So we ordered that hot patch machine. When it was shipped, they left out one of the cables for the camera where the operator could see it in front of the machine. We did take it out and play with it, test it out, get the feel for it, and let them show us how to use it. He did send us the cable, so now it's all ready to go. That is another reason why we need bigger trucks, so we can take the machine and the material and go around and pack trucks. Because I like to start at one end, take enough material in the machine and go all the way to the other end. Is it possible? We're gonna find out.
The machine uses millings instead of cold patch or hot patch, and so it's actually, I want to say half the price, but it's pretty reasonable compared to the.
Once we start using it, I'm gonna take a video. That way everybody can see exactly what it's doing and what we're bought and how it works.
Right.
Any questions?
Thanks, Todd. All right, so we're gonna move along to the public hearings, and I just wanna play a little ground rules and the process. Basically, we have if you want to speak during the public hearing of each ordinance, you can come up and there's a sign-in sheet, and so it's public hearing is open to the whole, to everybody. We just ask that you sign in when you come up. We're gonna go through each ordinance one at a time and have a hearing for each ordinance individually. And so you'll come up, we won't have a debate, you'll just be listening to your comments. You'll state your name, address, and then we'll keep the comments to 3 minutes per person per topic. And Paul, do you have anything to add to the process?
Yes, sir, that's fine. I would just say that you need to make a motion, to suspend the rules.
Well, so it's our second hearing, so we presented them at the last meeting and had them published since the last meeting. It's been 3 weeks. So I think we just need to make a motion to open it to the public hearing and announce the time of opening the public hearing. Okay. And then we'll vote, and we vote after the public hearing. Okay. And so, so at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:36 on January 26th, 2026. And our first ordinance is the parking ordinance. So again, a summary of the ordinance is that it's related to parking, and the purpose is to update and clarify our parking regulations within the city, includes restricted areas, enforcement authority, and penalties to improve traffic flow and public safety. And so does anybody have any public comments? Please come up to the podium and shout your name and we'll hear your concerns. All right.
Close it and then go to the next.
All right. Closing the public comment for the parking ordinance. Moving on to ordinance number 2, the nuisance ordinance. This one updates our standards for property and maintenance and nuisance conditions and establishes a clear, consistent process for enforcement of the nuisance. And so, opening the public comment on the nuisance ordinance.
Evening, Mayor, members of the City Commission, Gary Heimer, 1832 Summit Park Road, here in Odenville, aka Margaret. My only concern about the nuisance abatement law is I see a lot of properties that definitely would fall under this, but I've seen also some of the property owners are not in the best physical condition to remedy it and may not be in the best financial condition to remedy it. If the law goes unenforced, it's not a law, it's a guideline. And I'm just curious if there's gonna be some way to help fund some of these people because, you know, some of these situations didn't occur overnight and we're not gonna get out of them overnight. So I'd ask that, you know, you do allow for 150 days in some instances to maybe, you know, temper that sword with some mercy and, you know, if we can come up with some ways to offset levying properties or finding property owners, especially when they can't afford or are unable to physically remedy the problem themselves, that we respect that. Thank you.
Anybody else for, nuisance ordinance? And I will say, Mr. Barker is the face of any of these issues, and we do always try to have communication with him before just sending letters. So thank you for your comments. So at this time, if there's no further public comment on the nuisance ordinance, we'll close the nuisance ordinance public comment and move on to the animal control ordinance. So this is just modernizing our animal control regulations and clarifying the owner responsibility and enforcement for animal control. So at this time, I will open the floor for public comments on the animal control ordinance. Okay, if nobody has any comments about the animal control ordinance.
Who's gonna enforce it?
We've got two answers, or two avenues, right? So the police are the first line of defense, and then we involve the county for the second part. So if there's an emergency call, the police respond, and if the police find an animal, then we call in the county that we pay for already to come in and follow.
Does the county currently have anybody?
They have one person. It's technically Pell City. So it's a Pell City employee who comes and gets the animals, and the county, and technically, county pays for it, but the,
I think the county has one, and then Pell City has their own.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
What's the fee structure? Let's go over that.
That's not part of this. I mean, it's the same annual contract. We can get that for the next council meeting, but, are you talking about for the ordinance itself and the penalties for the ordinance?
It'd be a contract for an animal control ordinance.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a penalty if we're not abiding by the ordinance. That wouldn't be a contract.
We can circle back to this after the public comments. We might need to table.
Table?
Well,
Table for what?
if you want to make changes or.
Just go ahead and, if you don't have any comments, go on to the next one.
So I will close the public comments on the animal control ordinance, and we will continue discussion after the votes during the vote. All right, so the next ordinance is the ordinance repealing the appointment authority restrictions. So we have an ordinance on the books that repeals the appointment authority restrictions for the mayor, and it's in violation of state law and contradicts current legislative and administrative authority. And so I'm opening the floor for public comment on the ordinance to repeal the appointment authority restrictions.
Can you explain, what does that mean? What does that ordinance mean?
The city passed an ordinance in 2012 to revoke the appointment authority of the mayor. And there's state law that has overturned that, and the state Supreme Court has held that the mayor holds the appointment authority, but then there are certain areas where the council holds regard. So council is the final say on the finances and on all things as well. But the city clerk is a council appointed position, not a mayor appointed position. And then basically the mayor generally is responsible for appointing any positions that are over other employees. And so, and then the department heads then would then hire and find their own place for their departments, generally speaking. And so, this ordinance basically was passed at the same, literally the same year that the state Supreme Court overturned other cities that had done the same thing, and we've just never revoked it. And so it's an ordinance that's on the books, it's violating state law.
So basically, it gives you the authority to appoint employees if necessary, or
Yes.
when needed.
Yep. And I still hold that authority even with this ordinance because it's in violation of state law. So, but like I brought everything before council, we've had discussions and looked at everything. Like I've not executed sole appointment except for in interim positions to date.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, for that to be awarded, you would have to sue, but
The revoking or
no. For you to have the appointment authority, you said,
or vice versa. I mean, I could appoint.
that was how it was done in the previous manner, but.
So how would you denounce it? Like, how did you remove it? You're saying it was not, I guess, put into practice in the correct way?
Well, it's that practice has been overturned by the state Supreme Court. And so, I forget the case law on it, but they speak about it at the Alabama League Municipalities training, the initial training and everything. They talk about all the different appointment authorities. And so basically in 2012, the state Supreme Court overturned someone else who'd done this. And so a case worked its way up to the state Supreme Court where someone had revoked the authority and the mayor sued and it went to the state Supreme Court and they overturned it. So basically the current state law is that the mayor has the appointment authority, but council still controls the finances and the vote and the city clerk position.
So
And basically what happens is the ordinance that was previously passed is unlawful. So what the city is doing is removing that unlawful ordinance from their record.
So how do you remove it?
So they
is
comply,
that a
so they
vote?
comply with state law.
Okay, so is that a vote to remove it between the city council members or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so everyone would have to agree to it?
A majority.
Yes, a majority.
Okay.
On the majority on the first reading and, no, unanimous consent on the first meeting, majority is the first reading. I mean, total, yeah. If everyone agrees on it, then it passes. But if it doesn't, it goes to the next meeting and the majority, and then you only need a separate majority.
And this is that second meeting.
Yes, sir. Unanimous consent.
That's right. Because it's been,
If you want me to answer your question now on the animal, it's a fine up to $500.
The first offense?
And it recommends that the first offense is a warning, and then it progresses. First violation may be addressed by a warning, or they could issue a citation or municipal court prosecution. So, any of those.
So the second and beyond is fines?
They could actually charge them on first offense. And
Do we have a fine table?
And it really is to just say up to 500, so it would be a
per charge.
Yes, sir. And there's a lot of things in here specifically, this ordinance really is to protect animals. And to make sure that it's humanely taken care of.
If there's no further public comment, I'll close the public comment for this ordinance. And move on to ordinance number 5, discharging a firearm within the city limits. And so this is, it's building on a previous ordinance, and it just addresses the discharge of firearms within the city limits, establishing prohibitions and limiting the exceptions intended to protect the public safety while also remaining consistent with state law. And so I'm asking the floor for public comment on this ordinance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Again, Gary Hammer, 1832 Summit Park Road in Margaret. And I rise today to speak in opposition to this ordinance in its currently worded form. For background, 23-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, multiple combat tours, a life member of the NRA, a sustaining member of the Firearms Policy Coalition, a member of the National Association of Gun Rights, an executive member of Florida Carry, and a member of Bama Carry, all are pro-Second Amendment gun rights organizations. Firearms and the safe and lawful use of firearms, as well as hunting, have been part and parcel of my life for 57 years. Starting when my father taught me gun handling and safe firearms use at age 7. It took me hunting all the way through my teen years until I joined the Marine Corps. My concern with the ordinance as written unfairly penalizes property owners with large tracts of land, depriving them of fair and rightful use of large tracts, that being hunting and shooting. For example, I own 7 1/4 contiguous acres of land, compromising my home site, and when coupled with my family members to the immediate west, we have nearly 14 acres of land. Adjacent to those 14 acres, the McDowell family has an additional 10. The Sheltons adjacent to the McDowells have another 13, and adjacent to them are the Bonners with 10. All of us are gun owners, and in some between the 7 owners have 43 collective acres. Additionally, there are lots to the south that add up to an additional 190 acres. I believe the ordinance fails to realize that some of these large tracts, be they individual or in some modicum of combination, can easily and more importantly, safely support both hunting with a firearm and or bow, crossbow, or bow and arrow. One of the hallmarks of the 4 rules of firearm safety is considered rule number 4, which simply states, be sure of your target and know what's behind it. Every hunter knows that rule, and any hunter who fails to obey that rule is neither a safe nor ethical hunter, and in reality, not a safe gun owner. In that lens, safe hunters know what's behind their target. More importantly, in dense woods that make up the lots on Summit Park, a projectile cannot travel very far if the hunter were to miss his shot or if a sportsman was training and doing target shooting. I'd like to point out a couple of communities that have similar ordinances, but their ordinances allow for some deference and recognize the property rights of owners. My research was done by Alabama's Muni Code website and also individual cities' websites. Our neighbors to the southeast in Pell City have a local ordinance, 23-4266, that states in section 4 the following exemptions. Paragraph D, discharge is otherwise allowed by law by a person on real property occupied by that person under a claim of ownership or lease. Paragraph E, game hunting is otherwise allowed by law. And under the exemption in paragraph D, a landowner or a lessor can discharge a firearm on their property, and should a landowner or a lessor delegate such authority to others, those conducting game hunting can also discharge a firearm. Our neighbors in the lovely city of Moody to the southwest have an ordinance, 28-5, entitled Discharge of Firearms. That ordinance also has mitigating language about personally owned land, as well as a more concise definition of a firearm. First, in section A, defines a firearm as a firearm means any instrument from which shot, shell, bullet, or other projectile is discharged by gunpowder and shall include, without limitation, shotgun, rifle, and pistol. Key differentiator is that this requires the use of a chemical propellant, which automatically exempts an air or BB gun, as well as archery implements. Secondly, Moody goes to some great lengths to define the use cases where the discharge of a firearm is allowed. Specifically in paragraph C, notwithstanding anything to the contrary herein, it shall be unlawful to discharge a firearm within 200 feet of any roadway, school, park, church, business, or dwelling, other than the dwelling of the person discharging the firearm and his guest. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary herein, no person shall hunt on wild game with a firearm or shoot for sports such as skeet, sporting clays, targets within 200 feet of any roadway, park, church, school, business, or dwelling, other than the dwelling of the person discharging the firearm and his guest.
Sorry to interrupt, but beat the time limit, but I do think, I hear your point, and the animal control humane dispatch section covers a large portion of what you're referring to. The humane dispatch being something to the officer's discretion on how it's used.
That takes away the sportsman's right to conduct target hunting, though, or target practice.
That's, yeah, and that can be considered, but the main thing, your points are valid, and again, I'm trying not to get into a debate, but just point out that it's delineating based on one landowner versus another is the hard legal point. And I'll ask Paul to help to differentiate this. It's like,
I think projectile trespass though is defined in Alabama state law in 222-139.
Well, correct, but the ability to shoot the gun on your property,
Mhm.
you know, put it in law to say if you have 200 acres or 20 acres, it's okay, but if you have half an acre, it's not. It's like where the bullet goes is the concern, and it's the discretion of the officer. It's not intended to, penalize, but protect citizens. And so if we need to make some consideration, the council will consider it and discuss it.
I would be happy to work with the members of the council. And I think that some of the people that are gonna follow me up here are gonna be very similar situated. So, I'm happy to work with you. I don't think that laws need to be made in a vacuum. Involve us, we're happy to help. We're the subject of those laws.
And that's why the public comment is so important. If you have, you can add that all.
If you want to table it, then we can look at some other ordinances that I'm familiar with,
Okay.
and present that.
Thank you.
Well, as a fellow resident on Summit Park, right, 490 Summit Park Road, we share the same consent.
Mhm.
And when you're a surgical sugar puller, that's one thing. Yes, we understand the ordinance of not just doing celebratory gunfire because we're not in Afghanistan. We get that. However, I'm in the process of purchasing a property that connects to my property, but that one is in the county. So what jurisdiction does the officer have to come over here to hypothetically speaking? If I shoot it 20 yards over here, and I'm now in the county because of the stupid Sinclair County property lines.
So officers, go ahead.
And so, and that's the entire thing about Summit Park. You go from track to track to track. Some of them are in the county, some of them are in the city.
So
how are you gonna enforce that? And for us, as we're just harvesting deer from a conservation standpoint for putting meat in the fridge. Whereas, you know, in Brookhaven, Richfield, all that, okay, yeah, we can see that. You don't need to be discharging firearms there. But when you're in those areas, how are you gonna do it broadly? And that's where me and this gentleman agree. We're just going and hunting and we're gonna go kill a deer or a turkey or something else. Boom, okay, it's done. And that's where these ordination lines just don't add up because there's so many little spots that are just county, Odenville. And that's where I'm on his side on this.
Just to briefly answer the question. The police have a jurisdiction that's up to 3 miles outside the city limits, but again, this is mostly about personal safety, and humane dispatch covers hunting. But take your comments into consideration.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My uncle pretty much took the wind out of my sail, but I'm going to follow up on his. My name is Eric Heimer. My wife and I own a home and land on Summit Park, adjacent to my uncle. Our combined acreage is approximately 14 acres, like he said, and we're surrounded by neighbors who also have lots exceeding 10 acres each, and we're all surrounded by thick forested land. All this has been already said. I'm speaking tonight to express my opposition to the city ordinance and its current language prohibiting the use of firearms within the city limits of Margaret. The reason for my opposition is that I do not see any exemptions that would allow the discharging of a firearm for those who have land, and by land I mean acreage. That being said, as a retired police officer, I do agree with an ordinance prohibiting the discharge of firearms, but specifically within our subdivisions. Discharging a firearm in tightly spaced neighborhoods with homes directly adjacent to one another poses obvious risks that goes without saying, and I think that's kind of where we're going with this. I think based on what he said and what my uncle said, those of us that have land, we're going to discharge our firearms in a safe, humane manner. We're not in neighborhoods doing celebratory gunfire. I respectfully request that you take into consideration those of us who own land in the city. Please do not restrict our ability to safely discharge a firearm, whether it's for hunting, target practice, or protecting our pets and other animals from predators, which we've seen on game cameras and then we know they exist. I encourage you to research, as my uncle has said, ordinances in other cities, if you can do that too, and try to collectively come up with an exception for those of us who do own land within the city limits. In closing, I recently moved my family and I out here to this incredible town in the great state of Alabama, not just to be close to our family that has come before us, but also to have the freedom and the ability to use our land as we'd like within the confines of the law. I'm asking you that you please don't take that right away from us. Thank you for your attention to that matter. Go ahead.
You continue.
No, I was just gonna ask a side comment on something else as well, but we'll address that.
I just say, liability wise, we can't make something specific, like, if we can't take land size and or spacing, like, target any person or any situation like that. So the goal is to protect everybody equally, and there are exceptions, but we will consider your comments.
Okay, all right, that was it, thanks.
One more point I will make too. The biggest caveat with some of this, especially around gun control, is that your neighbor doesn't know that that's what you're doing. It's the person who's calling the police to report the gunshots doesn't know those situations. And so our police have to be able to use their discretion, but at the same time, it's not always about who, what land you have, but who's called in the report and everything. And so this is an attempt to give us something broad, but it sounds like we may need to revisit it. All right, any more public comment on the discharge of firearms? All right, I'll go ahead and close the public comment on the discharge of firearms. And we'll move on to the ordinance for bank account consolidation. And so this one is something that we're dealing with quite regularly, and it causes a lot of issues in the city, in administration, basically. We have over 20 bank accounts in the general fund and 6 or 7 in the public works, and it makes it really hard to do some of the accounting and reporting and tracking. And so, this is not something that needed to come as a resolution and or an ordinance, but I wanted it to be put out there and open for discussion and comment and public scrutiny. But we want to consolidate down to only the legally required separation of bank accounts and move large amounts of money that are not being transacted regularly into interest-bearing savings accounts. We've had millions of dollars sitting in non-interest-bearing accounts for years, leaving tens of thousands of dollars in interest on the table every year. And so, we've got to be good stewards of our money, and it starts with, consolidating it down, going to a fund-based accounting, and using the GL to manage our money properly. And Mayor Pro Tem Ray mentioned, we've had $1 million sitting in a non-interest bearing account for years that we've been paying 7% on and not earning a dime on. That's not good stewardship. So I'm opening the floor for public comment on the consolidating bank accounts. Anybody? With that, I'll close the public comment for the consolidation of bank accounts ordinance. Move on to the general ledger resolution to restructure the general ledger. Again, this is not something that had to be brought before council, but I want to put it out there and make sure everybody's aware of what's going on. So again, as mentioned at the beginning of the work session, our general ledger structure is needs a lot of improvements and needs to be basically rebuilt from the ground up. And then we want to reprocess the current fiscal year's transactions to match that GL structure, and so that we can match our GL transactions to our budget. And so that way we can report budget to actual and show people where the tax dollars are actually going. And so I'm opening the floor for public comment on the general ledger accounting restructuring resolution. If no one has anything, then I'll close the floor on the public comments for the general ledger accounting restructuring resolution and move on to the annual budget ordinance. So obviously, budgeting has been a hot topic for years, and we've established our first budget. But while it's not required for state law, this ordinance establishes a process for Margaret so that we maintain a budget and codifies the budget process to be consistent with best practices in other cities and municipalities. So I'm opening the floor for public comment on the budget ordinance. No one has any comments, I'll close the floor on the budget ordinance, and we'll move along to the residential rental registration and inspection ordinance and related code updates. This ordinance is about basically having rental homes registered and requiring annual inspections and keeping those homes up to code. Basically, making sure that all of our homes are kept up to the same standard, and it establishes that rental registration process for safe and habitable housing. And it is based on many of our neighboring cities. And so I'm opening the floor for public comments on the rental registration and inspection ordinance. There are no public comments. I'll close the floor for the public comments. And with that, I'm going to close the public hearing at 8:05. All right. Moving right along, we now have this is the time where we're going to vote on the new ordinances. Do we have any motions to table any of the proposed ordinances?
I make a motion to table the discharge of firearms.
Okay, Councilman Chapman made a motion to table the discharge of firearms. Councilman Samantha Davis seconded the motion. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yep.
Councilperson Bailey?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Torrisi?
Yes. All right.
If you just want to down the ordinance number, Mayor, and then just do a vote, that will be sufficient.
Well, I was going to request a motion to vote on the rest of them as a package. Sorry.
When are you tabling it to?
Okay.
You can't just say you're tabling it. What's the date you're tabling it to? It's got to be tabled to a certain date.
Okay, would you like to amend your motion?
Right next week or
Not the next meeting, because the next meeting is in a week. Oh, yeah. So,
The next one after that.
I only go to,
Well,
I only
3
go
weeks.
to, I only go to March, to a March meeting. First meeting in March. Everybody should be March 6th.
Councilman Chapman made a motion to amend his original motion to table it until the first meeting in March. And Councilwoman Bell seconded the motion. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yes.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Make a motion to table the annual budget ordinance and the repealing appointment authority restrictions until the first meeting in July.
And Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to table, the budget and the annual appointments ordinances until July. And Councilman Chapman seconded. Roll call.
Give me just a moment. I'll get the numbers right. Annual budget and which one, Jerry?
Repealing appointment.
Okay,
0407.
got it. All right. Councilperson Chapman?
Yep.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tudor.
No. All right. Are there any more motions to table? Does the council think it'd be better to vote on the remaining as a package or individually?
Individually.
Okay. Tabitha, if you could read off the first motion and the number?
Okay, who's making the motion?
That's what you read, just go down, list them, and then we'll council will make the motion.
Okay, ordinance number 2026-001, the parking ordinance.
Make a motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion, looking for a second. Councilwoman Samantha Davis, seconds. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell? Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Yes. All right, ordinance 2026-002, the nuisance abatement.
Councilwoman Mercedes Bell made the motion.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray, second the motion. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre? Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Right. Ordinance 2026-003, animal control.
Make a motion approved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion. Councilwoman Samantha Davis seconded. For roll call vote.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yep.
Mayor Tudor.
Yes.
Right. Ordinance 2026-006, bank account consolidation.
I'll make a motion.
Councilwoman Samantha Davis made the motion. Looking for a second. I'll second the motion. Roll call vote.
Councilperson Chapman?
No.
Councilperson Bell?
No.
Councilperson McIntyre?
No.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
No.
Mayor Tudor.
Yep.
2026-008, ordinance rental registration and inspection and related code updates.
Motion approved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion. Looking for a second. Councilman Smith Davis, second. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell?
No.
Councilperson McIntyre?
No.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Torrisi?
Yes. Aye.
Right. And then last, we have resolution 2026-001, general ledger account restructuring.
Make a motion to table to July the first meeting in July. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion to table it to the first meeting in July. Councilman Chapman, second. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Torrisi?
No. Okay, moving along, next item on the agenda is a reconsideration request so, floor over to Councilwoman Beth.
Yes. So I, asked for the motion, the upholding of Fireman Melvin's, termination. When I voted on, when you brought it up at the last council meeting, I voted yes, but, only because I thought that he had three other options, to later find out that they did not give him the other option. And so I don't want my vote to uphold his firing. I think that, he shouldn't have been fired. I think he should still have his job. So that's why I asked for this motion to be reconsidered. So, and I also asked him to send me the emails that you sent, and he did send those emails to me. I did see the dates on those. But I still don't think that it warrants him to be fired. So he just kind of come up to the podium, please. Yes.
I think we need to go over the before we start having the circuits again.
And Paul, could you walk through the reconsideration just to make sure everybody understands
For their, first, they have to pass a motion to reconsider. The only people that can vote are the three people that voted for it. And Ms. Bell, Councilor Bell did vote for it. So she made a motion, that motion has to be seconded. If it's seconded, then there's a vote amongst the people that the council, if the motion passes. So there's a motion on the floor, so that motion needs to be voted on by the three people that voted to terminate the employee here.
You want to take that motion? Do you want to take the motion?
Yes, so my motion is that his termination not to be upheld. I vote for him to keep his job.
So the only two other counselors that voted for him to lose his job have to second the motion for it to carry.
Councilwoman Margaret Bell made the motion. Looking for a second. Last chance for a second. Okay, motion dies for lack of a second.
All I'm gonna say is that I still don't agree that you should have been fired. Write-up would have been sufficient, but you being fired because someone thought that you caused them a life, I don't agree with it.
I think we all discussed the, I guess during that meeting or after the meeting that, moving forward, things have got to be handled differently. No write-ups and point files and everything else is inexcusable. And it starts with this desk right here. So, I didn't sit in on none of the meetings. I wasn't there. I wasn't the one in the recordings or anything else, but moving forward, and I've voiced this to everybody up there, it's gotta be, we've gotta have more structure, it's gotta be different. So,
Well, I don't understand how Councilman McIntyre don't get a say in this, he was here.
He didn't vote to terminate, that's what
No.
Paul's saying, he voted no.
But I don't understand why he's gonna say in this right here.
That's what Paul explained to us, that the motion to reconsider has to be voted on.
Yeah, whenever there's a vote, and the people that were here for the hearing, and they voted to terminate the employee, one of those persons has to pass the motion, has to make the motion, that they change their mind, and then someone else in the majority has to second it. For there to be a motion, and then once that's passed, then the entire council can vote.
So you're saying that, let me just make sure I'm clear. You're saying that the other two people who voted for him to be terminated, they should have seconded my motion, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to know where can I find it in
Anthony can give it to you, I don't know the specific code section, but that's it. And we actually confirmed.
And I actually did some research myself. And this one's I don't know. I can't find it. All I know is this, that I don't think it was fair. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feel like it wasn't fair. We did not sit in on it. It was one person that made that vote, determined, the decision to terminate him. And we should have did it as a whole, not just one person. And so I hear what you're saying, but if you can't show it to me in writing, and I don't see where, and I don't see it, I don't think it's right. So now I apologize. I still think we did him a disservice. And we talk about what the last administration did, but it's almost like we're doing the same thing. We're doing the exact same thing. There's one person that's still making the decision, and that's something. I don't want to put the council to sit up here and go along. I'm not gonna go along. And that's what you asking me to do, to go along with this solution. He shouldn't have been fired. He didn't get, there was no write-up. Did you get a write-up?
No, ma'am.
There was no write-up. Have you ever been written up before?
No, ma'am.
Have you had any complaints?
We're gonna continue on. So with Duke Street, is Vicky here by chance?
I wasn't done. You just cut me off. I wasn't done.
Take over the meeting. If you
Go
want.
ahead, man. I still think it's wrong. That's- you have a way to go.
We'll come back
Don't
around.
give anybody else a chance to say what they wanna say.
Come back around here. The council
I don't need to
comments.
know, man.
So,
So you saying you still something?
so Duke Street is, being motion to table Duke Street until the next council meeting.
what are we talking about?
We need to hear from Ms. Vicky. She
Yeah,
is,
that was not Duke Street.
it is now, I believe we voted to rename it. Or it was Duke Street and now it's, something else. When she called in, she named it Duke Street, so.
When did go to Duke Street?
Now it was, now it's
Everson, it used to be Duke Street.
So what's that now?
Everson, off Levine.
The family,
I know.
the family came and asked us to rename it, but when she called in, she named it, called it Duke Street.
Well, the name is Everson, isn't it? That's the name of the road. Isn't there a sign up there that says that?
No.
There's a sign up there.
This should be the street.
Ms. Vicky called and asked to put Duke Street on the agenda. That's all I had to,
Okay.
all right. So,
What's the problem there?
she needs to explain to us. That's what she didn't go into enough detail for me to understand, and so that's what she needed to be here to explain. That's fine. That's the motion to table it until she can be here.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Till the next council meeting?
Yeah.
Councilman Chapman made the motion to table to the next council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem Ray seconded the motion. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell? Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tortorice?
Yes. Moving on, the next section will be the additional proclamations, but, we discussed the one about the history of Margaret in the work session, and we'll bring that up at the next council meeting. The upcoming events, we have Good Friday on April 3rd and spring break coming up as well. Now we have the public comment section, and Gary and Eric, hi Mark, both requested to be heard during the public comment, but they actually talked during the public hearing, so you still. You did good.
But I have separate public comment.
Okay.
Just a question. So on Summit Park over by Lake Street, there's a tree that's leaning precarious.
Mhm.
And with these recent ice storms just 3 hours north,
Mhm.
I know that tree got flagged, and I'm not sure if you guys put out the bid for a tree service, but I think this ice storm was a wake-up call that maybe we should look at and address that, because if that tree does go down, it's gonna cut off access on Summit Park. Plus, I think it's probably gonna hit a power plant too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know an update status on that tree.
Okay, I'll make note of it and we'll figure it out. Depending on the situation with the trees, if they're covering, crossing power lines, we sub it out, otherwise we tend to handle a lot of that ourselves. But I'll make note of it. We also have a form on the website where you can submit issues like road and or trees like that.
I submitted.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been red flagged for a while.
It's been spray painted and marked by the city, so.
Oh, Mr. Barker did? Okay, all right, sorry. We'll get that addressed. All right, thank you. Public comment section is now closed. We'll move on to council comments.
Do you have to sign up for the public comment?
Yes, sir. Thursday before the council meeting.
You got the
Let me
whole,
leave so I can say something? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
you got the whole consent agenda, you still gotta go over.
Oh, thank you.
They'll move to the regular agenda.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, so looking for a motion to, approve the minutes from December 31st and, January 5th.
Make the motion pending the, correction, from, Councilperson, Davis.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to, approve the minutes pending the correction to interim fire chief made by Councilman Davis. For a second. Made a motion to approve the minutes pending your correction. For a second. Councilman Simmons Davis seconds. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tortorice?
Next item up for decision is looking for a motion for the backpack buddies program support.
Motion to approve $300 to Backpack Buddies program support, one-time donation.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to $300 to the backpack buddies, one-time donation. Looking for a second. Councilman Chapman made seconded. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yes.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre? Councilperson Davis? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tortorice?
The question that Councilor Bell has is the rules of parliamentary order. The rules of parliamentary order.
All right, and the final topic that we talked about keeping was the smart boards from Margaret Elementary.
No, you skipped over SOPs, bringing someone in to help.
Oh, and okay.
Everything is dropped down.
I was thinking,
Litter and fine structure, we got all that. Everything is just Move down, so you still got it covered though.
Okay. All right.
How you just gonna jump all the way to the bottom of smart boards? I mean, is yours different than mine?
No, no. We discussed moving, but,
Discussed moving them.
but we didn't vote on it. Okay.
We did vote on it.
We didn't vote on pushing them out. So, I'm looking for a motion on, updating our lettering fine structure. Lettering fine structure.
Making the motion to move it to $500, correct? Isn't that what we discussed?
Yes, that's what he said, most municipalities, or most places start at 500.
Make a motion to move it to $500.
Yeah, that needs to be an ordinance.
Well, and we need to suspend the rules because, that's the reason I pushed it off. You shouldn't have.
So we're gonna have that,
We haven't talked about it. Let's move on to the next.
Okay,
It
but
was just not over, we talked about it.
we had a motion, so we need to settle that. And so, I'll repeal that motion and then have a motion to table.
I'll repeal that motion, make a motion to table to the next council meeting.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made the motion to table next council. Councilwoman Senator Bell, I'm sorry, Senator Davis, seconded. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell? Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Ray? Mayor Paris?
Yes. Next one we did was speed bumps. We don't have any numbers in front of us, but looking for a motion to,
We'll have something by next council meeting?
mhm.
Make a motion to table to the next council meeting?
No, that's next Monday, so you probably need one.
I mean, why is it on the agenda if we don't have anything to talk about?
Well, it was intended to bring up for the first time to be handled.
It's intended,
And Mr. Barber's got the, he's got the numbers on it.
well, half the stuff you done got on here with a table, because we ain't got crap to look at. So I'll make some motion to table till next Monday, maybe we can get something in documentation we can discuss.
All right, a motion to table it. Mayor Pro Tem Ray.
This is
look for a second. Roll call.
I got, Ray made the motion, Bell seconded, is that correct? Okay, Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell? Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Paris?
Next topic is the life insurance for first responders.
Mayor, I think you need to table that till you get some.
Oh, agreed, that's, yeah, that's,
Well, you just skipped SOPs, bringing someone in to help.
sorry.
How we keep skipping over this? You got the same agenda I do.
Reading the screen.
I make a motion to table SOPs, bringing someone in to help,
Second.
to July the first meeting in July.
Councilperson Chapman?
Wait, you get a second.
You get a second?
Yeah, he seconded.
Okay.
Councilperson Bell? Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes,
Mayor Paris?
No.
public safety should be a lot more important than this stuff.
And moving along, we have the life insurance for first responders.
Make a motion to table the next meeting, since we don't have anything to look at.
You have a quote,
I do not. Jill's working on it.
you want to do it?
No, let's do it next meeting. I mean, we keep putting things on the agenda, I don't know why it's on here if we ain't got nothing to talk about.
I got a motion to table it to the next meeting. Looking for a second.
Second.
Councilman McIntyre, second. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman? Councilperson Bell? Councilperson McIntyre? Councilperson Davis? Yes. Councilperson Ray?
Yes.
Councilperson Paris? I'm
Yes,
sorry, Mayor
yes.
Paris.
Next topic is the towing fee and report fee.
Make a motion to approve,
Or-
moving the fees to, what was recommended by our police department.
$110, $100 for the towing fee, and $10 for the
$100 for towing and $10 for the report fee.
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules?
For,
First time presenting it. I guess that's the reason I attempted to move it all off.
Well, you got everybody so combobulated because you've got everything just thrown out here and you're not communicating anything to anyone. So we keep talking about this stuff and you have nothing for us to look at. So how are we supposed to know? We're 2 hours and a half into a meeting and this stuff is on the agenda, but you ain't got no documentation for us to look at. Just like this. We got department head reports on here with no documentation for us to look at. So if you're planning, let's plan with your plan you keep talking about and not producing to us that we're sick and tired of hearing about.
Do a motion?
I thought you made it. Did you not make the motion to suspend the rules? Isn't that what you said?
Said you need to.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to suspend the rules. Councilwoman Bell seconded.
Councilperson Chapman?
Nope.
Councilperson Bell?
No reason we need. Another one suspending the rules kills the motion, so, we continue on the next topic. Oklahoma Area Chamber of Commerce membership.
Make a motion to table until, first meeting in March.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to table it to the first meeting in March.
Sorry, what are we tabling? We don't know.
The Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce. Councilman McIntyre, seconded. Roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yep.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis? I don't even know. Yeah. Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Teresa?
No.
What's so important about pushing the Chamber of Commerce fees? This is the first time you brought it to us.
What did we decide about the police department, the $10 and $100?
It's been,
Huh?
we didn't suspend the rules, so it'll be at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, next topic is the revenue officer position.
Make a motion to table it till the first meeting in July.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray made a motion to table it to the first meeting in July. All right, Councilwoman Bell, seconded.
Nobody else
Councilperson Chapman?
Yes.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson
You don't
Davis?
have to run. You can just sit there with your lights on.
Councilperson, Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Teresa?
No. Now the smart boards for Mario Mary.
You gotta suspend the rules.
I know the money's in the budget.
It don't matter, it's the first time you brought it up.
She came and presented on Tuesday.
We didn't talk about $13,000, did we?
We had 15,000 in the budget for her, and we talked about it.
This is the first time we're talking about $13,000, is what I'm telling you. Goes back to that plan, you keep planning, you would bring that plan to us, we wouldn't have to talk about it. We still don't, he don't have a total, he just says 6,000 coming from this, and 3,000 coming from Plan B over here.
So we have the total is 13,125 for all seven. 3,000 of that comes from my budget item, and then 2,125 come from the school budget items.
What is your price?
So each of us got a budget for our district. When it originally passed, if we could all go back to that email and review it, please. We each get $3,000. We are looking ridiculous up here because people are letting their emotions control what they're trying to think and say. Can we act like adults and get this done and stop stinking arguing? Yes, I'm upset because everybody's laughing at us.
You don't have to yell.
I do have to yell because you've been doing it enough tonight.
Nobody's yelling.
Yes, you have.
All right. Moving on, looking for a motion. Do we have a motion one way or another?
I'll make the motion.
You got a motion to suspend the rules first?
I'll make a motion to table for the next meeting.
I mean, I can make a motion to table till July 1st, apparently, March, let's just string it all out.
Please don't.
Well, when we get plans for Fire Station 3, and we can lower response times, and we can fully staff our police
I
department.
understand that,
No,
but that
no,
takes
I got the
time.
floor, I got the floor. So when we can fully put the proficient things first, moving forward, then we can do other things. But until we can complete one task at a time, we cannot start 90 more tasks. That's the problem we have right now. We have 90 tasks going on, and we can't finish one thing. And it's embarrassing. Every city employee is talking about it. Everybody's fed up, and everybody up here at this desk, 80% of us are all fed up.
We done ordered 7 vehicles from this city, and the mayor ain't told us the first thing about none of them. Spending money wildly and proficiently. Tell me I'm wrong. I'll wait.
How about you just use them?
Well, that'd be good if we actually knew what we were ordering, but we don't know nothing. We're blowing money like crazy.
We'll be broken less than 2 years.
It's called communication, and there is none.
So you had no idea about any of the vehicles that were being ordered?
We knew about 2.
Okay, so of the 7, now you're saying you didn't know about 5, you didn't know about 2.
Okay.
All right, so we're looking for a motion on the smart boards. A motion to table it for next council. Councilwoman Smith Bell made a motion to table the smart, sorry. Yes, yep. Apologies. Motion. Councilwoman Samantha Davis made the motion to table the smart boards until the next council meeting. For a second. Okay, now that second, the motion dies, and continue on. That completes our agenda items, so now we'll move on to the council comments. Starting with District 1. District 2. District 3. District 4.
I really wish we could just get ourselves together and have a stinking conversation up here where we're not a laughing stock. Because I guarantee you that I have been asked by multiple people, what in the world is going on? Why is so-and-so continuing to go back and forth? Why is so-and-so continuing to be such a hard person to get with? I understand that we need a fire station. That is a year to 3 years out before we can get any of that. We need a truck. We're a year to 3 years out on that. Those are not gonna happen overnight. So while we're working on those, we can work on other things. It's called multitasking. And I apologize if you don't get the answers you want or anybody else they want right then, right there, and exactly what they want. But tabling 57 different things that we can vote on and agree on until July or March, that's just absurd.
You want us to vote on something that we don't have any documents?
It's for kids. I'm talking about kids. Regardless, if it's going to school.
You said vote on, we tabling 51.
Marjorie, I don't know what you're gonna vote on or not, because you go back and forth all the time.
Well, here's the thing.
Because you want me to vote on something.
Nobody knows.
That is not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna vote on what you want me to vote on.
I don't want to vote on anything.
At the end of the day, if these smart boards are so important, Mayor, why didn't you have us an exact quote of how much this is gonna cost the city?
Is that your comment?
No, that's a question. If everything is so important, why don't we have an exact price of how much it's gonna cost the city? You sat up here and tried to mathematical in your head, give us a figure.
All right, so.
And it wasn't together.
Just your comments?
Yes, I make a motion that we post the city clerk position out for 30 days and take applications. Exactly what you said we were gonna do, and we still haven't done. So starting, let's say Monday, tomorrow looks like a good day. We can post it out there and get for 30 days, and we can take applications, and then we can come back, and then we can hire someone to fill that position. Because a lot of these things, if we had someone here Monday through Friday, would probably be fixed already. I mean, you yourself said we was gonna do it, but we haven't. We've already talked to the city attorney, he's told us the exact same thing.
Mayor Pro Tem made a motion, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in discussion. How are we gonna do that when we voted to not work on job descriptions until July?
We can.
Well, you don't have a job description for the public works employees that you're hiring for?
Hourly labor is, but we're working on them.
Oh, you're working on
Oh, we're working on them, but now we're waiting until July.
So you can hire for some positions, but you can't the rest. We got a motion, a second, now it's time to vote. I think the council appoints the city clerk, by the way.
So roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray,
Absolutely.
Mayor Porter Reed.
I will wait till July.
Oh, since I still got the floor. Public Works and Fire Department vehicles, we voted to surplus. I haven't seen them on gov deals.
Well, there's no law that requires me to present a VIN number to the council, and so, like, you may or may not surplus them.
So if we vote to surplus, then you're saying you're gonna veto us? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you're adding additional steps, and so, like, I'll never, like, cater to that.
Cater? It's called accountability. At the end of the day, the person bidding on something wants to know what they're getting. Supply the VIN number, why would we not?
There's no law saying I have to.
Oh, so things how you won't continue, okay.
We were moving forward with the process, and you interrupted it and threw other roadblocks in our
Okay,
way.
well then explain this to us. We hauled off a police vehicle to the scrapyard without council, surplusing the vehicle first. So where did that money go?
That vehicle was, used in a fire department, like, demonstration for the Jaws of Life. It was cut up. They did not surplus it before that happened, and I don't know, what there was left to surplus.
Well, still got a VIN number. It was still purchased with city money. Where's the money? Yeah, that's what we all wanna know.
Got the money?
So, I mean, don't go to the scrapyard for no reason.
Gets it all the time.
Yes, it hasn't been sold. Probably hasn't been sold.
It ain't gotta be sold if it's scrapped. Yeah.
Somebody got paid.
Do we know what was the arrangement there?
If I remember correctly, y'all said get rid of those shipping containers. And we got, people from Anglo Metal come over and pick all those containers up and that old car. It was cut up. They wasn't nothing but, there was no motor transmission or whatever. It was just cut up where the fire department cut the top off of it for practice. So they all went over there, and I think y'all told me just let them get them. And so that's the reason there was no money from scrap.
Mayor, you approve that? Did you approve that?
I probably did.
Okay.
All right. So,
So would you like to tell us all the vehicles that have been ordered, since November? So everyone up here can have their questions answered?
we can go back and get you a list.
I see it's one of the parking lots, reason for asking. So you don't know exactly?
Well, that's a truck from Mr. Barker. For inspection.
What else has been ordered?
We'll get you a list. Anything else?
Yes, you have a list by the next council meeting?
I'll try to have it by July.
So this is our transparency.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, moving forward, I'd just like to reiterate that the city council has a bunch of different things moving up. City administration has a bunch of different things moving at once. We're trying to improve and find and delve into these systems and figure out what's going on. Some days it's been several hours working on payroll to get payroll done, working to train the department heads to enter payroll. There's 1,000 different moving components that all have to get done in order for the city to move forward day to day. In order to have a budget, you have to actually do the financials and manage the money and track the money. And with our current system, it was intentionally set up to make that near impossible. And so we're attempting to get things sorted so that we can report and display information and give everybody the information they need. All these things take time and processes and take multiple steps to get done. And yes, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We have multiple things moving, and I mean, honestly, I'm very proud of the team for all the work that they've been getting done and the things that they've been moving forward. I mean, we've got staffing up, we've got response times down already. We've got police responding more quickly in 2 more cases than we ever had before. We've got a record number of felony cases, which is almost scary. some regard. Like, we're all doing our jobs, and this behavior is killing employee morale, which was the biggest part of the thing that I fought for years against and to try to change. And so, you know, you can be as upset as you want to be or participate as much as you want to participate. And so I'm very proud of everything the city employees have done, everything they're doing, and they do on a daily basis. I try not to complain about the work that we have ahead of us, but it's there, and we're doing it every day. And we need the right people to help move it forward and to bring the money to the city. The only thing you can control in this world is how you react and how you behave. And we've all got to keep that in mind with all of our actions and responsibilities. And just can't say, like, I mean, we have done tremendous amounts of work with what we were left and what we inherited. We are going to keep doing that work and moving forward. I wish I had half of the information that y'all have and the public has during my time on council, because as a council member, I didn't have any more information than the public had in most cases. So we'll continue to move forward and let people know as much as we can, keep people posted as much as we can. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute, Mayor, I need to clarify something on that road project.
Yes, sir, Mr. Parker.
As y'all know, I think all of you know, we got a cross drain that's failed on Hunter's Crossing Road, and it's emergency repair. And I've only gotten one quote back this afternoon, and they had a discrepancy in it, and the engineer kind of told Sprague in it also. But if we were to use a 24-inch PVC pipe, a double wall heavy duty pipe, is about $4,748.68. That's for the one that's failed. The engineer, he wants to go with concrete. If he does, if we go with a 24-inch concrete, it's going to be about $7,179.50, which is about $2,430 higher. So I need some guidance from y'all to tell me what to do. We got another one that's got a problem. Now, if you want to do both of them, we could do both of them for $8,083.97 each. So that's with a 30-inch concrete. And a 30-inch PVC pipe would be $7,000. Be $6,417.84 each. So I just need to know what you want me to do. We can keep an eye on it and try to get more bids or go with it, whatever you want to do.
One of those is an emergency situation. The whole road's don't fail at any given second.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, Todd was out there in the pouring down rain yesterday. I mean, it's bad.
I realize that, but which way you want to go with concrete or PVC?
Concrete. What's the 30-inch price?
30-inch concrete is $8,083.92.
That's per
cross drain. If we did
both of those, I mean, both of those gotta be replaced. That's the main road coming in.
If you did both of them, $16,175.84.
We'll have to suspend the rules in order to do it. But, I mean, it's an emergency situation. I mean, if the pipe was there yesterday, it needed to be done yesterday. I mean, it's that bad.
At the very best, it's probably gonna be the end of the week.
Yeah, I think, didn't you say you went through there this morning and like 8 of the 10 cones have been?
I didn't, one of the cops did.
And they had just been ran slap over. That's the second set of cones in 2 days.
That's all the cones we have.
Yeah, so, I'm making a motion to suspend the rules and, do both of those. You said the total is what, 16 what?
16,000 and $175.84.
Make a motion to suspend the rules for $16,175.84 onto emergency drain issues that need to be adhered to before that road collapses.
Rupert and Ray made a motion, Councilman McIntyre seconded, roll call.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tortorice?
One question for the absence of Chapman, is he still considered part of the quorum or?
Yeah, he left. Mr. Chapman?
Yes. No kids.
So that was just the suspended rules.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
I'm going to the bathroom.
There are two failed cross drains, on Hunter's Crossing Road. One, Tyson Road, yesterday. Yeah, 16-175-84. Go 16-175-84, going with concrete instead of plastic.
And that's two of them, Jay.
I made a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay.
Motion's already passed, so moving forward with your motion.
I'm gonna make a motion to, spend 16-175-84 to fix those emergency road situation, drains on Hunter's Crossing Road. Okay.
Person Ray made the motion, Councilman Chapman seconded, roll call.
Councilperson Chapman?
Yeah.
Councilperson Bell?
Yes.
Councilperson McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Tortorice?
Yes. All right, looking for a motion to adjourn. Look for a second. All right, all in favor, say aye. Thank y'all for coming.